Have you noticed in a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of people are talking about leaving their home country? They all want to go to another country and believe it's going to be better than wherever it is that they're already socially and financially set up in. But my question is, where are they going? Where will their problems disappear? Now, I won't lie. I've had the same idea. I floated the idea to my partner of going to like Dubai, working there for a few years, earning the tax-free income, and then coming back to the UK or go to US or Canada and set up a new life with the money that we saved. That idea is great and all, but the reason for us wanting to leave was to earn enough cash to basically buy a house outright and either stay there and make our current house into an investment or move back to the UK with the cash that we made and pay off the house, then work a regular job with only bills to pay, no mortgage, and have a lot more disposable income. But obviously, with the cost of living going up and salaries staying stagnant or even going down, that paradise won't really be paradise for long, especially if you had to work for years to upkeep yourself while saving enough to outright buy a house in another country. So it may not really be good in my sense. But I do wish I could move back to Asia, but not my original country. Either like Vietnam, Philippines, or Thailand, mainly for like the lifestyle, affordable cost of living, and just to forget all my stress and move over there. That idea isn't off the table, but most likely it's not achievable for us and doesn't really align with our goals. But if you're planning to move away forever, I understand, and it makes sense when you compare it to the current condition in the UK, especially since it feels like every time I see the news, all I ever hear is poor decisions being made, making it harder for citizens to live in the UK. Terrible housing conditions, economic crisis, robberies, crime spiking, barely any repercussions for the people that do the crimes. Honestly, I'm really surprised there hasn't been a riot already for the cost of living, like what happened in 2011 with the London riots. I know I shouldn't be encouraging riots, and I'm not, but I would actually understand if there were riots, especially with like the Blackwall Tunnel no longer being free. And I watched a video recently by Tanks, and he did some digging into the Silvertown tunnel, and it wasn't even the correct type of tunnel for the vehicles that they were advertising for like the huge HGVs, but the type of tunnel is not designed for a HGV. It's too narrow, right? And the investment firm was basically footing the charge for the first 5 years, and then the UK government would have to pay the fees. So almost like a 5-year insurance in case the tunnel collapses or gets fucked in any way, basically gambling on like Londoners' lives every single day, risk-free for 5 years. But then the day after that, they gamble with their own money, not morals or care of life though. It doesn't really feel like even the UK government really wants to help our own people, like your regular people try and have a better life. It doesn't feel like they're really on our side. It feels like everybody's in it for themselves. Most people are leaving. Like there's even been a statistics of many millionaires already leaving the UK. And if the people that are millionaires that are on the top of our society are leaving the UK, why would the people in the middle class, well, most likely lower class, because there really isn't a middle class anymore. Why should we, the people that are being taken advantage of, want to stay in the UK? So you might be thinking like, with all these things mentioned, why wouldn't I want to leave this country for a better life elsewhere? Is it just the money? Is it because we just bought a house? Well, for me, that is some of the reasons, right, for money and the house that we just bought. But the other reasons that I don't think people will really take into consideration is when you're moving away to a completely different country, most likely in like a completely different continent that has completely different cultures to what you're used to. I don't think people really understand how difficult that is. Like I said, I came from Asia. I saw the struggles on my mom had to go through just to set up a new life here in UK. On paper, it makes sense, but in practice, it's a lot harder. I saw my mom give up her roots trying to fit in here. My whole family has been targeted with racism at some point. Even now, I still deal with it. I don't even like to embrace the full culture because of the people that tell me to embrace the culture are the same people that treat me differently everywhere I go. Whether it's because of how I speak, how I look, and I'm talking about even in London. Like, I don't live in London no more, but I have lived in London. I have gone to school in London. I have worked in London for a lot of my life, right? Or at least close to London a lot of my life. And I've been treated terribly, right, by many groups of people, right? Whether it's white, blacks, even some Asians, right? I have been treated by people differently, and I know for a fact if I was back at home, this shit never would have like happened. Like, it's not even like I need to worry about letting it slide. Like, this never would have happened, but because I'm here, it's happening, you know? And it's just because I'm different. I first came here and I didn't really understand how things were, and I was speaking differently the first time, and I didn't really know how to stand up for myself because I never had to do that kind of stuff, right? You're a target, especially when you're younger, and I know this for a lot of people. Like, it's not only me, I know this for a lot of people. people. London feels like a very dangerous place, especially when you are young. When you're going to school, maybe you just finished school, you're still like your early 20s. London doesn't feel like a safe place. I will say that it does feel a lot safer after you leave school and all of these people are kind of like behind you. Most likely when you're like driving around in a car, you don't really feel so like threatened on like public transport and stuff as well. But like when you're in that kind of environment, and I know this because even my colleagues, like some of my colleagues, they've grown up in like different parts of London from me, and they've said the same thing. Like they've had their bikes stolen, they've had their phones robbed. And I remember talking to one dude and he was just basically saying like he would take a bike and he would ride it around for as long as he could that week, and then he would leave it out one time, like go into a corner store, and then he'll buy some stuff, and then by the time he comes out, that bike's gone. And then he would just be like, like, but he wouldn't even be sad about it. He'd just be like, like I lost it, that was my bad, I fucked up on that. And then he would go like a couple months or weeks or whatever, and then he may see the same bike sitting down there, but then he knows that the people that stole it from him may come back and fight him for it, so he would just leave it. He would just be like, that was my bike, but fuck it, I'm not gonna take it. He finds somebody else smaller, weaker, or not even there, and then he'll take that bike and then he'll ride around again for it. Everything that I can see, it's just not a good environment. A lot of people are assholes. Walk out of your house. Do you like everybody on your street? When you go to a town, do you see people that make you feel unsafe to be around? I remember when I went down to Canterbury in Kent, like the Canterbury Cathedral is, right? And they literally had posters in McDonald's reminding customers to not be racist. Like literally just telling people like to mind and do not judge how people look and where they come from, like their ethnic origins. When you take it into that kind of perspective, like it sounds pretty bad in the UK, you know? Like a lot of people have glorified images of UK from like outside. So in America, or like if you live in Asia, you think, oh, the amount that you could earn in UK is a lot higher, so the people should be a lot better, and maybe you have that image of the Queen or the King or whatever. Like you just have like such a glorified image of this like grim reality. So when you hear about this kind of stuff, and like when I'm talking about it, like I don't have a lot of nice things to say about the UK, but why is it I don't feel that urge of leaving the UK? Like why is it I'm not really putting proper steps into leaving the UK? Not yet anyway. And the main thing is, yeah, it might be bad in like some places, and the environment can be rough in quite a few places, but I've adjusted to this lifestyle. You know your bad areas. You have to keep yourself safe, family safe, and if you know something is dangerous, you'll tell somebody to stay away from it. You would do the same for yourself, and you would just avoid any kind of issue, isn't it? I feel like in this country, like you can do that. You can live with just keeping your head down. Like you don't need to be a hero. You don't need to change the world. Like let it burn sometimes. You'll be fine. Like I've adjusted to it. If I go to another country, I could end up hating that country and the people too. Like I'm Asian, and I know that we can be known for being racist too. Like we don't like foreign cultures invading our culture. We don't like it completely changing into like a Western society. We want it to be what we have. Like the reason why people come, like tourists go to these countries, is because of their cultures, and it's very different from what they are used to. It's different in a good way. Like even if you were to live in like an Asian country, you probably wouldn't be attacked. Like it's a lot more milder forms of racism, like just people not really want to talk to you, just ignoring you, that kind of stuff. But it's probably is definitely like a more like relaxed form of racism compared to like UK, where I've had people step to me telling me to give them my and all that kind of stuff. Like I obviously would prefer that kind of form of racism, where the people just don't talk to me if they don't like me. Cool, because that's kind of like what I do now, and I'm not even trying to be racist. I just try and keep my head down and move on. But just to give you an idea, like that was what we kind of experienced a few times where we went to Japan. We even had like an experience of like people pushing us in Osaka, just me and my girl, and we couldn't understand like why they did that, and we weren't in anybody's way. We were literally standing still, checking our phone, trying to figure out where we're going, and we just get randomly pushed by this girl, and she just like deliberately, she wasn't on her phone, nothing, she just deliberately just went straight through us. And I was just like, yo, like nobody said nothing, nobody stuck up for us, nothing. She just like simply would not go around us, and we're like with our suitcases, so people knew that we're tourists, or at least like we've not been here for long, or like we're moving around, right? And she just went straight through us, suitcase and everything. And yeah, like if we had caused the commotion, we would have been the bad guys, because we're foreigners in their country. So you just have to like socially accept, like sometimes you're gonna have this kind of stuff happen. And sure, in like city areas, tourist destinations, you might be a little bit calmer, it might not happen as much. but it doesn't stop the fact that you may still experience a lot of things that you may not like. So full disclosure, I've got nothing against Japan. Obviously my story was just saying the bad part that I experienced in Japan, but honestly, like, the rest of my vacation was pretty much fine. I didn't have many bad parts of it, and the next like few clips I'm going to show are of people's like bad experiences or like what they've noticed while being in Japan. But this isn't a like attack on Japan, it's just the country that I've been to. This is my experience, and it's not only me, like other people have like experienced similar things. Don't take it like as if I'm trying to make this one country as a bad place, and I'm not trying to say that every single like country in a certain continent is bad either. I'm just saying that wherever you think is so good, like, you know, the grass is greener on the other side, it may not be when you actually are there. If you're living there or if you're working there, like, that's the reality I'm trying to paint. So just take these clips as like the reality check.
I'm Christy. I was born and raised in Japan. My father is from America, New York. Then my mom's from Nara, Japan.
What was it like to grow up in Japanese countryside as mixed race Japanese person?
There's few foreigners. There's so few, as you know. When I was a kid, so a little kid, people see me as a really foreigner, and identity is full Japanese. So I was so confused when I was really young. That was tough. Yeah, that was tough. Until when I was 10 or 10 to 12, I had a bad bullied. Like I used to forget like anything, pencil, textbook, anything. Then if I ask them, like my friend refuses at first time because if I touch it, they said it turns darker. So don't touch it, or it's getting dirty. So I couldn't have any much more friends, but I entered a junior high school. Then I focused on to have my identity as Japanese and being black. What I learned was there's no differences from the outside, like your figure. Just if you show your inside, they'll accept you. I've learned it. But it was still not enough. That's why I changed the place to live, left Miyazaki. I was struggling to have dual culture, Japan and America. But my identity is here, but my face and my race and my blood is over there, right? So maybe my personality is traveling around the world, then know differences. Globalized differences.
Growing up in Japanese countryside as mixed race Japanese person was hard for you, right? You gonna raise your kids in Japan?
To be honest, no.
Oh, really? Because of what you experienced?
It's one of my reason. I don't know. I want my kid to explore more, to be globalized person. It's so close country. Japan is so close country. I feel that. The reason why I travel around the world is to decide place to live and die for good. But I still don't figure it out, and I still don't find it.
So you don't know?
The outside of Japan.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you for your time. Where you from?
I'm from Jamaica, but I immigrated to Canada before moving to Tokyo.
Okay. How long have you been in Japan?
7 years and a few months.
What's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan?
You know what? To be honest, I don't think there's anything, but I feel like if you're a black person specifically, right, you might not be prepared for some of the stares, right? Because you will garner a lot of attention, right, unintentionally, right? So you're walking down the street, you cannot be incognito, right? People will notice you at every turn that you make. So if you're a person that's not really, you don't like attention, you might want to reconsider living in Japan.
After 7 years, it still hasn't changed.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. There's a lot of microaggression or passive aggression, I think that you might encounter being here. Some people have really, really negative experiences, and some people have really, really positive experiences, right? I've been stopped by the police maybe, I think, 3 times here. Yeah, it's not a lot, right? Once I was skateboarding in Shibuya. I never knew, like, I shouldn't have been doing that on the sidewalk, so that was once.
So it's not because you're foreign or nothing?
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe because it was late at night, right? And then the second time I was riding to Mount Fuji from Tokyo, so I guess I look a little bit suspicious, right? So for me, overall, it hasn't been that bad. but the microaggression can get to you a little bit.
Do you think it's important to have a friend from same community, same culture when it comes to this topic?
When it comes to black hair, yes, it's very crucial. I think in general for foreigners, it is good to have some type of community in Japan. And as foreign, especially if you don't know the language, it is much harder to meet new people and sort of get along, because for a lot of Japanese, it's difficult to gauge their level of friendliness and sort of like willingness to interact with you if you do not know their language. If they are not comfortable with English and you are not comfortable with Japanese or know Japanese very well, there's a very thick and very tall wall you're going to have to climb. I mainly hang out with mostly Japanese people. I have separate communities. One of them is like a black community that I know. Another one is Japanese people that I know, and other ones are like other foreigners, foreign students. So I dabble around a bit, but I like to know that I can be flexible and have other people I can talk to. So that's been nice.
As someone who lives in Tokyo from New York City, what are the differences?
Cleanliness. First thing and foremost, cleanliness. People are much more clean and aware of like throwing trash around. That's why if you notice, there's not a lot of trash bins. If you're here, it's sort of assumed like you're gonna take your trash with you home or wait until you find a place to throw it away. So the cleanliness is just much more, it's nice. It's very nice.
What about the people?
People here, they are respectful, superficially nice. But they are sometimes cold in a way that it's sort of hard to get to know them on a deeper level. If someone collapses, someone's probably gonna stretch out and help you. In Tokyo, sometimes people won't do that. They'll sometimes just like walk past if someone's struggling. I've been walking home at nights where I've seen someone who's drunk and no one will help them. Whereas like, at least in New York City, someone will reach out to you and someone help you out. Like, hey, are you okay? Are you gonna get home? But you only see that as much here in Japan. So I feel that's something New York City has that Tokyo doesn't have.
What's it like being half black in Japan?
Well, for me, it depends on what area I am in. Sometimes I'll be in Tokyo, and if I'm around a lot of young people, sometimes I'll get small comments like, gaijin toka kokuchin, そのこと. And it does bother me a little, but other times I can be still in Tokyo or somewhere, but around older people, which is quite different. And they'll be nice, 美しい, 美人 とか. It just depends on the person, I feel like now.
In America, when you say you're half Japanese, how do they react?
They'll say my mannerisms are very Japanese, but I feel like I look 100% American. So they'll be like, oh, you're half Japanese. Do you speak Japanese, Chinese, etc.? Like they put Asia in one category, and that's something that does bother me. I feel like my personality is both depending on where I'm at. In Japan, I can be a mix of both, but in America, I feel like I'm more Japanese because I don't relate to a lot of the things that people my age are doing in America.
Go back to your country. We don't welcome black people. Black people should go. You look so ugly with your dark skin color. Go back to your country. Do you eat watermelon? I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because he's white and he's your master.
And most people don't have the ability to just try out a country, to just live there for a few years or a few weeks or whatever, right? And then just fly away if you don't like it. Like if you plan to stay in a country, if you plan to live there and you're thinking of like getting a job, doing your residence permits, your work permits, your visas, all these kind of things, you don't have the ability to just be like, yeah, I don't like it no more. I don't like the fact that a lot of these countries, like especially Asian countries, expect you to work 9 or even 8:30 to 6:30. Technically it's like you only get paid up to that point, but they want you to be first one in, last one out. So you could be doing 12-hour shifts as a daily occurrence. Like it's expected of you. It's a social norm to live at work. That is why like a lot of these countries, like you see the news and like people talking about how their staff fall asleep at work and it's a sign of respect. You don't have the choice. Like I'm not even talking about like racism anymore. I'm just saying like the culture itself. Like when you actually live there and work there and you're not a tourist, you might find out that it's a lot harder to actually deal with, because a lot of your countries that you're coming from may be a lot more relaxed, or you might be just used to that kind of thing. And when you go to another country where they have like a lot more stricter rules for their residents and a lot more stricter rules for whoever's working in these kind of companies, because they use their culture to back their kind of like company ethics, right? You may not enjoy it no more. You may not like it. And if you went through all the hassle of getting your work permit, visas, residence permits, all this kind of stuff, do you really want to just be like, oh, get pack bag, hightail it out of there. Like, you did so much work to get there, and most people will not have that ability to. So you basically have to like pick it, stay there, deal with it. And where you come from a place like UK, I'm only speaking with my experience, right? We have problems that are hurting our economy every single month, it feels like. But in the UK, at least, like, I'm just speaking out of my experience, like, even with all this happening around it, you do have some good stuff about it. Most of the time it's just the culture, the social kind of awareness, how everybody's kind of like embracing difference and like equality and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you might be hurt financially, and that is the worst part about it. But when it comes to the way that you can kind of get around, even if you're not liked in one place, you can avoid it very, very easily most of the time. I'm not saying for everybody. It kind of makes up for a good life in that sense. Like, you don't like something, don't go there, move around it, go away from there, go to the opposite side. If you're in a big city, try to go to another one. You most likely will find another job somewhere else. It's definitely a lot easier if you don't like where you live. Like, let's say you live near London, it's definitely a lot easier to get a new job in like Manchester or Liverpool, especially Manchester nowadays. It feels like it's been blowing up, than it is to just move to another country. Like, you just move to a different city rather than another country. Like, you have a chance to start something new elsewhere, and if you don't like the people there, it's a lot easier to move back because you at least establish yourself in this country. I just wanted to make this video because I see this all the time, like YouTubers saying like certain countries are cooked, UK's cooked, you need to leave UK in the next 5 years before 2030 when it hits the fan and all that kind of stuff. But realistically, for most of us, we don't have that option. We don't have the ability to just be like, yeah, all right, I'm out. Especially when you've got investments here, when you've started your life here. When I say investments, like, you could just be talking about like you invested your life. You are set here. You have everything you need. Your family's here. Your friends are here. Your work is here. You don't earn money elsewhere. So you can't just be like, yeah, I'm out. Just think about it in that sense. Like, it's not as easy as these people on YouTube make it seem. Like, I've looked at it. I've tried it out. I'm looking at it right now, just trying to figure out how, if I could. A lot of these countries also have a rule where you have to be able to prove that you couldn't source that kind of work, like that profession, in-house before getting work from another country. Like, you have to prove that you couldn't find somebody else in that country. They do that for America. You have to prove that you couldn't find that in that country before you start hiring out, if you're going to be doing like work permits and stuff. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say today. Thanks for getting to the end of another long video, and thank you to all the people that subscribed from the last video. If you enjoyed this content and you want to help and support me, a like, subscribe, comment is always appreciated. Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye.
They're undisciplined. Use it against them.
Grenade! Make way!
What the fuck?
Droid scan. Our forces are securing Commando's desk. General Grievous is here. You've captured all the command posts you need right now. I sent a transport down to pick you up. This is your window to take that ship out. Excellent. The LA-AT is touching down now. Hightail it over there. Get on the transport. Quit mucking about and get on those LA-ATs. Targeting hostiles. Grievous
my
has been
God.
spotted.
Give me.
Everyone ready? Shuttling up to the dreadnought.
Oh.
I knew you had it in you. Next stop, mayhem and destruction on the dreadnought.